Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I am All In Crypto, and today we are going to be diving back into Chainlink. We made a video the other day talking about Chainlink and congratulating the team at Chainlink, Sergey, and everybody involved on the launch of CCIP on mainnet. Since then, there's been a number of test nets that have came along. I think it's across 5 different blockchains, and we're seeing a lot of usage take place. In this video, we're going to do a number of things. We're going to start things off by looking at a clip from a recent interview with Sergey, where he talks a little bit more about CCIP and actually the bridge that CCIP is bringing to the traditional financial world and the blockchain space. CCIP, and I see a lot of bitter people that don't actually hold Chainlink. You guys know that we are... Chainlink makes up a good chunk of our portfolio. It's not our biggest allocation, but it's an allocation that's reasonable. Seeing a lot of bitter people out there because they aren't Chainlink holders, or perhaps they're not fans of the project and they can't quite see the vision. However, I think most people in the crypto space would agree that a part of crypto's evolution is engulfing a lot of the quote unquote real world traditional financial system, real world assets getting onboarded to the blockchain. Actually, Chainlink is a key part of that, not just for Chainlink as a project, but for Chainlink and the kind of blockchain world, because it provides a gateway for traditional finance into the banks, for institutions, for whatever it is, through Chainlink into and to gain access to the entire blockchain space, which can now harbor and utilize eventually a lot of these kind of quote unquote real world assets. So we're going to be talking about that, of course, in this video. We're going to be mentioning Swift again, which of course, Chainlink partnered with. Chainlink have been working with Swift for years now. I think they won their kind of innovative program years and years ago. I initially started buying Chainlink in sort of 2018, 2019. We obviously sold it going into 2022 and got back into the market at the start of the year. And then what I really want to do is finish things up on a bit of a technical dive on Chainlink. I'm seeing so many people talk about a breakout for Chainlink. I do not believe this breakout exists. Chainlink has not broken out of the range that it's been in for 434 days as of yet. I'm not sure where these technical, some of them have hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter, analyzers, learnt their technical analytics from. Basic support and resistance here. Chainlink is still very much in a range that it's been consolidating in, which is a very bullish sign, certainly if it breaks to the upside for 434 days. I think Chainlink's not only going back to new all-time highs, but above and beyond it. And I think we live in a world where blockchain is largely misunderstood and still exceptionally small, and yet to, as we're going to look at in this clip of Sergey talking about it, grow to a tens of trillions of dollar industry. So let's get into it, guys. Let's start things off with a clip of Sergey expanding a little bit on Bloomberg Live about CCIP.
Okay, so you've mentioned CCIP a few times now. That's your cross-chain interoperability protocol, which just launched. This is basically a DeFi TradFi connection. That's the aim here?
It's a messaging protocol that connects all blockchains into a single internet of contracts. So similarly to how the internet we all know and use is made possible by something called TCP/IP, which is a messaging and communication system that connects all the different internets of the world into one internet. You can view different blockchains as separate internets that need to get connected into one internet of contracts. And CCIP does that for both bank chains and public chains. And in connecting the bank chains and the public chains, and then connecting them together, you basically get a huge amount of value flowing from the banks into the public blockchain world, which is why I feel that the value of our industry can rapidly increase and easily go well past 10 trillion based on all the value and assets that banks are putting on chain now.
Unbelievable, guys. It is nothing short of exciting. This is a future that we've really championed, that we're moving towards for a long time. We really do truly and utterly, and I've had Bitcoin maxis on here that have disagreed with me and spoke about the social aspect of things and why they don't believe this is a technological revolution for various reasons that we disagreed with. We've got lots of interviews coming up, guys. We've got data, people talking about data and how they're putting it all together and how data is going to become more and more of an important thing, just like it is in the Web 2 world, in the Web 3 world, and we're looking to front run that. We've got people coming on and talking to us about a whole range of blockchains. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, guys. We bring information that others don't. But this is huge. This is part of the future. And actually, this is how Chainlink plan on enabling it. You can see you've got these kind of bank chains. It makes sense, and we'll read through this, for banks to actually have their own blockchains. But of course, they're going to want interaction with the kind of public blockchain world. There's a place for public blockchains, guys. Blockchains are not just going to get replaced by banks, because it's kind of almost doing the same thing, right? Just adding this sort of technology, and it does make everything more efficient. Decentralization is far more than just a gimmick. It is a massive part of security. And you can see large financial institutions here, Swift messaging infrastructure. Obviously, this is in regards to the Swift partnership that, of course, are partnered with Chainlink to implement CCIP. They're working with BYML and a number of others. Chainlink cross interoperability protocol, taking it into the blockchain, all public and primitive blockchains, and then rerouting it back. It's absolutely huge what Chainlink are doing, guys. Again, if you are sour because you don't hold Chainlink, it's not too late. Actually, we're moving into what we would call a stage 2 in regards to looking at a weekly time frame, which is the optimal time to buy. We're currently in stage 1. So many people talking about a breakout here. I'm not sure what time frame they're actually talking about. It's an explosive move to the upside. Chainlink was up 20+% today, very timely around our video. But of course, we've been buying cryptocurrency after being out for the majority of 2022, really since the start of the year. Had to deal with a little bit of chop. We were very spot on in regards to calling the Bitcoin bottom at 15K. And one of the only channels doing that, and we weren't, I think other people claim that when they were bullish the whole way down for Bitcoin, whereas we actually were keeping people out of the market and only flipped based on a number of things. And if anyone wants to join the Patreon, please do consider it. You can go back to the 5th of January and watch the Patreon update where we got together and discussed as a group actually buying crypto for the first time in a little while. So Chainlink hasn't actually broken out, but I want to leave the price action to just a moment. This was really interesting, pointing to banks that have set up their own digital asset departments. Sergey observed, and what all of those departments are coming to as a conclusion is we have to have our own app chain, because why am I going to pay fees to some other person's chain? I'll just have my own chain. He argued that this is when banks realized they should create their own chain to have complete control over their own tokenized real world assets. So I think it's going to be split. I think decentralization in the public world is going to be far superior and have advantages that come from it to the individual chains that are public over banking. So I'm not quite convinced that all banks and all institutions will go down this route, but undoubtedly some will. However, the thing is with what Chainlink are doing is they connect everything. So it doesn't matter if it's a public or private blockchain. Everything can be interconnected. And just like with the internet and Wi-Fi and all these magical things. So stage 3 emerges when banks start to develop the development of their financial protocols on their proprietary chains, essentially mirroring the contemporary DeFi landscape, but with a tighter regulated framework. This is where Sergey reckons Chainlink will come in. In the third stage, their invariability going to be dealing with us, because we power the vast majority of DeFi, pretty much all of it, guys. DeFi pretty much wouldn't exist without Chainlink. They're going to need market data. They're going to need identity data. They're going to need automation. They're going to need function. All the stuff we make, they're going to need. He said, I know that because I've seen a lot of the designs, and the designs are basically copying the DeFi protocol we already empower. Very, very interesting. This is huge. And the actual Chainlink token, is what people miss out, is needed. You have to pay a fee in Chainlink to use CCIP and to execute across chains. It's very interesting. And as more and more chains come online, as more and more, the use case for Chainlink has now become infinitely more. And there was already a use case for Chainlink. So many of these crypto analyzers were saying, oh, you don't need Chainlink for anything. Well, you actually do. Their economic model that they use to incentivize people to give accurate data relies on individuals holding Chainlink that they can get essentially slashed or penalized on if they provide inaccurate data. That was one use, and now there's a kind of Goliath of a use case that's come around. Let's finish on a little bit of a quick sort of price analysis. Chainlink has essentially now been in a range for 434 days, so over a year. And actually, this is very different to even the likes of Bitcoin that continue to sell off. We can pop Ethereum on here. We could pop a number of cryptos on here. Then actually, okay, and I think maybe if we didn't have FTX, these wouldn't have sold off in the manner that they did. But Chainlink largely has just been consolidating and showing strength against many of these other chains. And anybody that is a technical analyzer out there will know the longer the consolidation, typically the bigger the move that comes out of it. And Chainlink this is a monster of a consolidation. Typically, we would analyze this and say that you've gone into what we would call, this is a stage 4 into now a stage 1, right? Which is a basing sort of stage. You can see you've got a very clear range in here, and ultimately we think this is going to lead into a stage 2, which is a breakout stage, which is ultimately the optimal time to buy. The optimal time to buy Chainlink, and of course we've been DCAing here, if you were looking for a breakout, this is not a breakout. You are still in a range. You have not broken out of that range yet, ladies and gentlemen. The people calling it a breakout need to go back to whatever technical analyst school or read whatever books it was and look for just basic support and resistance. Don't even need to look at range trading, just support and resistance. You still have this resistance overhead. The optimal time to buy Chainlink, which is when it moves into what essentially is your bull market after being in a downtrend, would be at the point of break and potentially retest. Okay, so if Chainlink does something like this is just very basic. Guys, you don't need complex analysis to be a good investor. We're currently teaching it in the Patreon. We think that the best sort of for investors, certainly retail and new investors, the best strategy you can learn is stage analysis. And we're working on creating a load of content around that to help you guys. And you can join the Patreon and get sort of early access to the courses as they come out. But ultimately, the best time to buy would be on this point of break, a retest and a holding of it, and then you start your uptrend. Okay, this is not broken out yet. All these people calling for a breakout have no idea what they're talking about. What have they broken out of? You know, what time frame are we looking at here? Are we literally going all the way down to the hourly time frame? This was beautiful structure here, by the way. Ultimately leading to the upside. So you'd probably run into a target here, taking a bit of a rest. Chainlink will break out. I do believe it's going back above and beyond new all-time highs. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's not going to happen overnight, but this is a very positive sign. The fact that you've been in this range for so long, the fact that you're getting such a bid here is very positive side, leading to a breakout to come and ultimately upside continuation. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you guys. If you've enjoyed the content, like us, appreciate it. So as a comment, do not sleep on Chainlink. It's not too late to purchase Chainlink, in my opinion. Yes, we've been buying Chainlink from significantly lower down. We even got the lucky opportunity to buy Chainlink in the high $4, $5 range. Ultimately set up for the bright future that we think Chainlink has ahead of it. See you in the next video, guys. If you can like and subscribe, it's always well appreciated. And a comment with your thoughts is appreciated also. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.